Thank you guys for joining. Today is really a kind of a summary of Stoneridge Connect, I think is what we're going to focus on. We want to take feedback in chat that you guys have had regarding the event. So if you have questions or comments or feedback, obviously we really want to have that on stream today to talk about it. As it turned out that it was a really fun and constructive event. We've gotten a lot of feedback off of it, and so far that feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. And I'm really proud of the team for pulling this together. I mean, we've got a huge amount of effort that was put in by Sabrina and by the marketing team and by the sales team and by the delivery team as well that was going through and putting together content. I was on 5 sessions. Adam, you had like 3 or 4. Marcus, you were in a couple as well, right? I mean,
I
what
had
was
three
your thoughts
sessions.
on it?
Yeah, I thought it was
It's
great. Great attendance in my sessions. Good questions. Good feedback. It was a lot of fun. It's nice to see people, virtually, I suppose, see people that I haven't seen in a while too.
yeah, and on my side of things, I got to jump into. I even had it in my deck, the here and now of DataFlex, which was struck through Project Oakdale. So, jumping into newer territories, I was really excited to see how much, how many registrations we got and how much traction that we got with the sort of the pure Power Platform learning track.
But wasn't like
People,
it was
what's that?
huge. It was like 500
Yeah, I
plus
mean,
registration. I mean, it was. I
the
mean,
the response was awesome. Like we had tons of people in our sessions. This is all free too. So it's event season, it's conference season. August through kind of where we're at now, and we had a lot of people show up, show out, and it's been a heck of a lot of fun.
it has been. And the content, I think, has been very pointed as well. I mean, so a couple things just to give the audience a little bit of feedback with that's on Confab here today. One of the big things that really stood out was the registrations around the Power Platform. I mean, the Power Platform sessions, from what the team communicated to me, were the most widely participated sessions. And it's just really exciting to see something that we've been talking about now for basically about a year. I mean, we started these confabs internally, and we focused a lot on the Power Platform because we just saw the potential there and the unifying aspect that it has from an end user to a data perspective. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. I think, Adam, we did an advanced Power Platform session with you, me, and Marcus. Excuse me. My wife texted me at the same time as I'm looking down. I'm like, what's going on here? Usually when the wife texts, you know what that means. Something's going on. So, but we went through some of those advanced concepts there for portals. I think you did some bots with it as well. And sadly, poor Adam, you only got the last 5 minutes because I talked too much, didn't I? That's really what happened there.
It's always the case. It's always no, God, no. I think that the issue, and it's a kind of we talk about how busy we are. These are good problems to have. That we have to we have to highlight so many incredible tools and how they can add value. Not just here's where to click and here's what to do, but how is it actually going to be meaningful for you? Whether you're a technologist, whether you're a process owner, we have to fit that into 45 minutes. So, the problem that we had was a very good one. We have so many, innovative and exciting tools that we have in this deep toolbox now, where, there's a little bit of bleed over, but hey, we can jump into it today. We can go take a look, and it'll be a mix of both, how we felt about Connect, feedback, exciting, the big rocks, the high points there, and if we've got time, let's just go jump in. For people that weren't able to join a session and don't have any idea what the heck we're talking about, we can at least give a little flavor and tell a kind of a micro story here yet today. So we've you know what, for those that are listening that are out there that weren't a part of those sessions or maybe have to drop today, we can always pop the hood.
Come on another time. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
We're here every 2 weeks to do this. So, like I said, in chat, guys, if you're out there and you want to have some questions answered, please go ahead and put your comments in the chat. We'd love to address it. Feedback on Connect, what you thought was great about it, what you didn't like, what we can improve off of.
This is a demand.
Exactly.
Chat,
Come
get
on,
involved
chat.
here.
Get involved.
Let us know. Let us know if you've got big takeaways. I think when Marcus and Scott and I were talking before we kicked on the live stream here, we would really love. We know that there's a pretty solid Stoneridge contingent of viewers every other week. So even for the Ridgers in the chat, what did you walk away knowing from any of these sessions or from the week? What did you walk away knowing that you didn't know on Sunday, that you didn't know last week or before a certain session? We'd love to just kind of pull out those big aha moments or those big wows and just chat about them and give some body to them. So chat, this is not a request.
Adam's demand that he's doing with it. The one thing I did want to mention though too, so Sabrina did forward me a statement that I thought was pretty powerful, and really it's something that I think we take for granted in some ways as well. And I just want to read the statement real quick here. So this was somebody that was in a discussion group around upgrading on business systems and what to do and what to avoid and the tips that are there as well during one of the sessions. And the person basically stated this. So number one, we need a partner to give us what we want, but not what we're asking for. The first partner we had before Stoneridge gave us what we asked for. That put a lot of customizations in the system that we didn't want, even though that was what we asked for. A good partnership when you're deploying is when you get someone who is frank and honest and give you what you need and not what you ask for. And it's kind of interesting, right? Like that type of a statement, like typically for a customer, we want to take what they ask for and really map it. But I think what customers are realizing is that we're experts in this field. We focus on this as our daily lives. I've got 22 years of experience, and you guys are in the same boat. We're really trying to design systems that scale and address the business requirement without doing exactly really what they ask for, right? I mean, and that's a really important distinction, right, as we go through this.
I must not have been a part of that session because I only speak in platitudes and around the bushes. That's just my style. I joke. That's a huge joke. But yes, you're totally right.
Yeah, and it goes to show too, like, so Marcus, I want to tie this into the conversation we had earlier. You went online for, what was it, a bot that you were interacting with, right?
Yes.
And
Yes,
somebody asked, they probably saw that
extra...
a bot, right? But what happened? Tell us about that.
So I need to do some extra garbage collection. So I go to my garbage collection service website, and there's a bot, and I thought this is just yesterday. So I think, oh, well, I'm going to use this automated bot on their website. What a disaster! It was an absolute disaster. I think
frowny face.
This is why you need help, and just turning on technology for the sake of technology is not going to help. And I ended up in this endless cycle of never actually getting the answer I wanted. Like, oh my gosh! And then I asked for someone, or no, I asked to get some contact information, and the bot presented a mailing address, not a phone number, not an email address,
snail mail, a physical address.
Yeah. Like,
but my assumption,
time and help configure this a little bit.
Yeah, but my assumption with that is that they asked for a bot, right? And they stood it up, and it's like, yeah, it's a little bit deeper. It's kind of like the phone systems. I called, I forgot who it was, but usually my go-to on a phone system is customer service. Well, we need to know how to direct your call, customer service. And then I'll even sound angsty because some of the bots now have, like, they can tell if you're getting angry and they'll escalate it. Actually, it was
sentiment analysis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was progressive. So that was doing it. It was progressive. I had to call on a policy issue that I had. And but the problem is that it got into a loop for I had to do it like 3 or 4 times before it finally allowed me to get to a person to talk to with it. So it's...
Hey gents.
Yeah.
Do you know?
This might tie into what you want to show, huh?
We can solve that problem directly. Keep all the context and automate all of the data collection and hand off to a live agent completely seamlessly using Power Virtual Agents and Omnichannel for customer engagement within Dynamics 365.
Well, maybe we should show that in just a second here, right?
Did you know that?
I'm going to send our name over to my garbage collection service and say, you can stop irritating your clients, and we can help you with that.
Yeah,
Well, I think
exactly.
I think it was God. I was driving up to Fargo early this year, listening to I think it was the CRM audio podcast. So that or it was a service one because I think Sean Tabor was there, Sarah Critchley. They were talking about. I mean, I think their use case was. Now these are some MVPs that are talking about this exact sort of scenario where you know in this day and age, people definitely gravitate toward self-service. So maybe I don't need to or want to engage a human being right off the bat. I can
Yep.
find what I'm looking for. I'm self-sufficient, whatever the case is, or you deal with your cable provider, your ISP, or whatever, and you go to a site and they have something like what Marcus is outlining, where there's a bot. Hey, great, I'm going to find what I'm looking for here, and you give them your name and your contact information and the issue, and there's a little bit of troubleshooting trying to point you in the right direction, and then you go, you know what, I kind of need to talk to a person. So then you look for that handoff, and then you have to start all over again
Yep.
because none of that was
That
actually
info comes.
relayed to
Yep.
the human agent.
Yep.
So they're asking the same questions. It's inefficient. Things get lost. It's an end of the line. You're hitting a brick wall, and then you just get really pissed off. Like
It's
you
just
just
a
get really frustrated
Bad
at a customer.
Yeah, bad
So
customer
immediately,
experience.
what do you think is going to happen? Immediately, you're going to think poorly on their customer service strategy. You're going to go, you know what? I'm not getting what I'm looking for, and I keep talking in circles trying to give you what the problem is. So you're compounding all of that frustration before you're even talking to somebody internally, which is you're setting everybody up for failure. So
Well,
luckily
with
we've got
that,
tools to
yeah,
address that.
exactly. And I was thinking, let's put you on the spot with it, right? So let's go to PVA and let's take a look at this monitor really quick on stream. And
All
Rad,
right.
we are going to talk about that field service perspective too, because that is another very important aspect that we've seen for coverage. So let me go ahead and try to flip here. I think I've got your screen up, and I've got my mug in here again. Hi guys, how you doing? All right, now you've got to close me out. Hey, I don't want to be there.
You don't want to float on my
No,
screen
I don't
here?
want to float on your screen. I'm off to the
I
corner.
can. All right, I'll tuck you away here. All right. Can you see
So
everything?
so let's talk through that. So you
Yeah.
have a bot that we showed at the end of our session where you can set up topics like you're showing here. You can make it so that you can embed that in your website, so that way you can go through and do that cool bot thing and frustrate all the people. But how do we not frustrate people? Like, do you want to harp on that?
It's actually really hard. It takes a lot of coding, and I've gone through about 4 months of application development. This is all a lie. It took me about 6 clicks with a little bit of thought. And that's I'm joking about it. We're being very sassy and punchy today because we're in the middle of Connect and there's just so much going on. But the beauty of Power Platform tools, the beauty of Power Virtual Agents is it doesn't take months of development. It doesn't take lines of code to get to where you need to be and to have high value impact. Not only the time to value concept of, I can start and very visually start building my tools, but also deploy them quickly and easily. So right here we have, there are some things that come preloaded with PVA, so you can see that kind of stuff. But I've been using this customer support model for most of my demos, so it's only fitting that we jump into that. So if I go into this customer support bot, this is the model here that we're talking about is just like Marcus outlined, just like we talked about. I'm a customer. I need to go to a website and find out some information on what's going on. I have a problem and I want to fix it. So the bot has a bunch of trigger phrases. This is going to identify that the start of that topic, the start of that conversational path that you're going to start walking down. So there are a bunch that I have in here. I need help, case help, can you help me, help with D365, etc. And you can add those ad hoc, but go to the authoring canvas here. And this is the designer. And we've seen this on Confab before, I believe, and we've done webinars on this, and we've kind of done some showcasing of PVA. So I'm not going to be as detailed. I will skim over a few pieces and just kind of keep things at a summary level. But here we have all those trigger phrases that we kicked off with, and then down below it's going to say, hey, I can help with that. What do you need help with? So this is where we can guide our customer.
The branching.
We can actually build, these. When I speak about topics, usually when I'm doing a session on PVA, I tend say your conversational path, because it truly is a path. If you look at this designer, yeah, I'm going to select the door I'm opening, but once I open that door, say it's for, finding certain blogs or resources for products, we're going to keep engaging, we're going to keep collecting information, and we're going to give more body and context to this request. And if I keep going down, we've already asked, what do you need help with? Here we're asking, the bot is going to ask, hey, we've got you covered. What product do you want to learn a little bit more about? And so we keep opening these doors and these pathways in the conversation. So I think if I go down to Power Platform, if we go down through that conversational path or that topic, that branch, we're gonna get prompted with, hey, you know what? We've got a blog. We can go over there and check it out. But at the very end of it, this is where we can actually prompt the customer on a website. Do you want to speak with an agent? Would you like to actually engage with a human being? Maybe it is more sales related or customer service. We want to flesh out a few things that we haven't built into our bot yet. A human's just the best choice for this. If I scroll down here, we can say, yep, they're awesome. I want to talk with Stoneridge. I want to talk with their resources. Let's do it. Or no, thank you. And if we do want to speak with that individual, you can see that we've got a transfer to agent option. But what's really, really nice here, and to kind of bring things full circle, is we're not skipping any beats. There are no drop points or end of the line break-offs within the conversation. When I transfer to that agent, I'm actually pulling in, and this is just a super simple example, but I'm pulling in the stuff we've collected already. So I can give that and I can serve that up and I can give conversational context to an agent in real time. So it's just, there are no drop points here.
Well, think about it like this, and this is the beautiful thing in my mind with this. So if you want to, part of the strategy could be like, at Stoneridge, like we should be putting this on our website. I mean, quite honestly, because there's a lot of basic things that customers inquire about when they're escalating to support, right? One might be just, what's my bill, or what's the details of my bill, or what's my customer statement, or any of these like areas that are very repetitive and they take time from a person to tackle. I mean, a customer support bot, for example, using PVA, you could easily set that structure up. It can access the common data service, which means you can get to that data. You can generate documents. You can run Power Automate to get the information. You can tackle those mundane tasks by allowing customers that don't want to, for some reason, go to a portal, or maybe you don't even have a portal, but you could just develop this bot, right, to handle those scenarios and get that information and then return it back to them, right?
Absolutely. And that's what it's intended to do, is reduce, the mundane, the repetitive, the front end stuff that is pretty standardized. Get a person off of that task. Instead of monitoring and constantly keying in the same kind of stuff day in and day out, offload that to a bot, offload that to something you can automate and embed on a site or something, and they can focus, the person internally can focus on what's really critical for the business, what's more important, and that allows, not to be too cheesy about it, but if I were in that bucket where, hey, a bot is going to take over 15% of my job, I can dedicate that to learning and growing more with, a career trajectory. That's sort of big picture stuff.
Yeah, but the other thing I wanted to mention too, Adam, is just, a lot of customers, they focus on, so one of the experience I had with another organization was that they wanted to direct all their customers towards one point of contact. And, I think it's a noble idea in some ways, because the reason the business does it is because of optimization, right? They're looking at trying to cut down on the number of touch points that they have to maintain with it. And that's mainly because they're using older technologies that are harder to maintain when you have an update or a rollout that needs to occur. And what I've always appreciated is organizations that have multiple ways to contact, not only a ticketing system, but a portal to access it, a bot to access the same information, because really, we've talked about this in every single one of my sessions, data is the key one of the key things basically is that we identify, and then all these different sources can use that data to represent it differently. Maybe it's in Dynamics because you want to generate a invoice, for example, or it's a bot that wants to generate an invoice for a customer because they wanted to get it on demand, right? I mean, that's to me, the very cool thing that we have with these technologies now is that we don't have to just have one.
Yeah, and I think with the bots in particular, sometimes when you go to these sites or you're going to contact, because I've had good experiences with bots too. It's actually faster than trying to send an email or call and waiting on hold. And I can just send I can use a bot. I can get a quick answer to the question I have and move on. And it really can be a big time saver too.
Yeah,
so I've had good experiences with bots. I don't want to make it sound like it's just my trash collector that has a problem.
It's a trashy bot.
It's more. This is where, we try not to be too pitchy on Confab, but I mean, this is where working with a partner pays big dividends. It's one thing to have a tool and to go, yep, we're going to throw that at the wall, and great, we've got a bot on our site now. Great, but I mean, are you causing more headaches than it's worth for your customers that are trying to find answers for problems? Deploying bots and using that front end automation bot technology is probably, like, especially with Power Virtual Agents, it's more important to have a strategy and to define what that discretely is going to cover, what it will accommodate, what it's supposed to automate, so that that strategy wrapping paper and how we're deploying it and what we're using it for is really going to drive the success of using a tool like that.
Yep.
So,
Rob's got two good questions too that are great for bots.
Current wait time, right, that I saw in there? How long is the table open on the patio? I mean, when is my order going to ship? Your order is estimated to ship on this date. Like, it's just basic things that you get inquiries about. It'd just be, when is the next functional consultant expected to arrive on site for my implementation? I mean, that would be so cool. All right, it looks like you're building something on the fly here. What are you doing?
I'm just showing how easy it is to get a bot on a page. Right now, if you were looking at the stream here a second ago, I was in Power Virtual Agents and I published all the things that I had in there, and then I went to my channels. You can see we can deploy this to a ton of channels right now, but if you just want to plunk in an iframe, especially for Power Apps portals, everything's tightly integrated in certain areas. So I went to the custom website here and I didn't grab the whole iframe tag.
Yeah.
I just grabbed the URL right there and went to my Power Apps portal editor and inserted. I went to the left for my iframe component and just dropped that in underneath this little text blurb that's on the contact us. And this is a self-service portal template that you can go fish out in Power Apps. But here's that bot. That's it. Sync the configuration, go browse the website. It's on our contact us page now. Now this is one method, and I actually did a little bit of this for Summit, for Dynamic Communities, the Summit NA the other week. So this is one method of getting a bot on a page. That's hard coded though. We can see that if I go to the self-service, already giving a little preview of what's to come here in a second, but if I go to that contact us page that we just visited, we should now have a fun, awesome customer support bot that loads up in a second as I'm vamping to that load.
There it is.
Boom.
It's like, wait for it. Cool.
I need help.
Help, and it's HALP. Nice spelling.
So
hello.
So this is where we can rigidly we can drop this in as an iframe, but it is rigid, it is static, it is hard coded to that page, hard coded. The other option that we have is, you already kind of see that fun widget. If I go back to the home screen, it's across the domain, the Let's Chat widget. And this is where it gets super fun and exciting, using Omnichannel for customer service to be able to embed this and use this very much more enhanced version of the bot that I just showed you. So, did you guys want to see it?
Yeah, let's see it.
This is the where the magic happens to me. So here I'm in Omnichannel for customer service. If you haven't jumped into it yet, go check it out. It's super powerful. And I want to, for anybody that's been a part of the sessions that I've given recently or had heard me talk about it in the last number of weeks, I was kind of making omnichannel and USD synonymous. They're not. They're not. I want to clarify, they're not. But omnichannel for customer service, really about managing those intake channels. So if it's text, if it's a call, if it's a bot, if it's now an entity, we can do entity forwarding and queuing and roll that into our omnichannel strategy. So from CDS, we can actually kind of queue up an account record, or we can throw a lead into a customer service queue for people to go take a look at, which is really exciting. That really kind of breaks down a lot of barriers for unique work streams. Anyway, omnichannel for customer service. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on right now here, but you can see, we've got these dedicated session tabs. So here I have my dashboard. Here are the ongoing conversations, depending on which queues I'm a part of on the left, and then we've got additional reporting. But we can crack open new sessions here if I want to see just a list of all of my accounts that I service. We can have that living side by side with channels, and we've got a lot at our fingertips here. So omnichannel is awesome. Go explore it.
Cool.
Go see how that can add value to your organization, and we can help. But you can see that there's nothing going on. There are no conversations happening right now. But what I want to do is actually go like that and put the portal over here. And this is all responsive, so it'll snap to. And we can live with this this kind of truncated version. This is our portal. This is our full portal here. But we started with a bot. We took that bot and we tested it. We showed you how to drop that into a page in Power Apps portals, but this is the coolest part to me is if I go to Let's Chat here, I themed it purple. You've got options to theme it a little bit in Omnichannel. When you create this chat widget, you use Omnichannel to create the chat widget, to build that wrapping paper around your PVA bot, and then deploy that to your website or your Power Apps portal with a little chat widget content snippet. So a lot of jargon to say the two are there's a handshake in place here using Omnichannel tooling and Power Apps portal tooling. But here's that same bot. So if I say the same thing, I need help, and it recognizes sentiment if you misspell. We have full text analysis here. But hey, look, there's my bot. It just is purple and in a widget and now on the website. So you can see that I've got a chat going on the website on the right. If I refresh the data in Omnichannel here, whoa, hey, we have a session. So somebody's on our site asking questions. Now, if you have a customer support model or maybe a sales, a sales model, and you actually want people to just monitor to see how these conversations are flowing, if you just kind of want to dip in to see, to gather sentiment or just the context of that conversation, I can actually go into, if I highlight this record, there's a monitor button that's right at the top, and that will snap me into that chat. So I can be a fly on the wall as an agent and see how that chat is transpiring here. And if this is an anonymous visitor and I actually kind of know who it is, I can even go in and either spin up a new account or contact or tie them to an existing record. So every time that IP address hits that page now, I know exactly who that is, regardless of whether they tell me or not. Kind of freaky, a little big brother, but it's about proactive customer service. It's about knowing who you're talking to and giving them what they need. So,
or even giving them access to special paths, right? Because now that you have the customer,
Exactly.
they're an account, they've authenticated in some way potentially, you can expose maybe more pointed information, maybe not like customer information, but industry, or hey, did you hear about this new thing that we have that's towards this particular industry, right? Like you can use it in that. Exactly. Well, yeah, theoretically, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So, I can see from a customer perspective who I'm talking with. It's a virtual agent. I know that I'm, chatting with, and we can label this however we want to. But, if I say blogs and learning, I'm actually looking for a little bit more information. You'll see on the left, hey, that it pops up. We have the end-to-end conversation highlighted here. And I can even see it'll show the name and the duration. Hey, there's that sentiment that we talked about. So in real time, we're not just looking at the back and forth, the volley of conversation. We're actually gathering how this customer feels.
I want to put you on the spot. Put in the chat message, say, I am angry. I want to see if, does it work? I want to see if it actually does it yet. No. Oh, slightly negative. That's awesome.
It does.
Okay.
Yep. Now it's a gradient, right? So that was the first the first instance of negativity. So it's going to go, ooh, maybe they're not doing so hot. And if I kept going with that, wow.
It's cool though because you didn't have to configure. Did you have to configure anything to do that for the sentiment analysis?
Oh, now you're negative.
now,
Yep.
now it's turning negative really quickly. Well, this is. Could you? Okay, so let's bring this a little bit further now. So, could you actually? You can't slightly positive. Nice, super happy. It went right from negative to immediately happy. So,
Yep.
I guess a question for you: Can you make it so that flows can be fired then off of, for example, sentiment on this? Do you
Oh
know if you
yeah.
can do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you're gathering, if you've got that data, we can key in on those indicators, those parameters. So if we're skewing slightly, if we're skewing negative, positive, back in the day, if anybody remembers, social engagement, where we really started to tap into the power of sentiment analysis and content. Yeah, you can store that, and it really was on a like a zero is neutral, 0 and 1 being positive, 0 negative, 1 being negative. So it operated between three primary values. If we've got that data, we can do whatever we want with Power Automate. I mean,
Okay.
there are always asterisks that are a part of that,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
we can throw automation in the mix based on sentiment
The
capture.
big thing, like you said, like if you have 100 people that are going through a chatbot, you're not going to go and monitor every single one. But if you can quickly be informed, for example, that somebody's having a negative experience, and you can then join that conversation as a human being to then say, "Hey, I know this bot's not working for you." I mean, that's just another touch in so many ways. I think that's such a positive effect for customer interaction, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Now, we've been in this conversation for little over 3.5 minutes now, or been monitoring it rather. So let's go back and sort of reset. Let's go click into blogs and learning. I'm looking for some resources, and let's go scoot over to Power Platform. Um, so we can see that transpire. Somebody's looking for maybe some PVA help or maybe some Power Automate help. So I can click on the link, as a customer, click on this link, and that'll take me to the kind of filtered blog list for Stoneridge Software. Now, then if you recall, we had that prompt: do you want to talk with a person about this? Would you like to speak with a Stoneridge representative about your really cool PVA project or your really cool Power Platform requests and needs? So this is where I can actually hand off to a live agent, and I love this part. I'm going to dip out. I'm going to get out of here, and let's assume that these agents aren't going to be monitoring 40 conversations a day.
Exactly.
Like this is I have things to do. Say I'm in a different dashboard, or maybe that list of accounts that we're on. Just doing our day-to-day grind. We're servicing our customers elsewhere in the system.
Yep.
This is where if I'm doing my own thing and somebody on the site goes, you know what, I actually do want to talk to somebody, I'm going to go, yeah, they're awesome. So an agent will be with you in a moment, and
whoa, look at that.
we can see the wait time, we can see the comment, and this is a proactive, an overlay dependent, regardless of where you are in the system. If I click accept, that'll throw me directly into that conversation, and now we have some new features. The first one that we see, the very first comment, is kind of peach colored. If you recall, in the very, if we go back to the bot, the very end of that whole track, we had that handoff node that we built into that, and it took in some of that. We had those variables from the conversation. I'm looking for blogs and learning, and I'm looking for Power Platform information. It passed that along to me. So Marcus, in your use case before, if you had given them contact information, if you had given them, what the problem is, specified the product or the service line, you had 4, 5, 6 things that were pretty critical to your customer service request. Right? Hey, we passed that along directly to the agent, and this is peach colored, so you can see that this is an internal comment. If I flip to internal, it turns peach here, so I can say, wow, this one is tricky. That doesn't go to. You can see that nothing shows up here on the front end on the portal.
It's almost like notes that you can keep with it.
Exactly.
Can you inform other people? Can you bring other people into here too?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we wanted to give body to this, we can, kind of inject these internal comments, and then you can see we've got a few more controls in the bottom left. So the first one here is quick replies. So if you have scripts or like a standard communication for various problems, you can sort of template those responses. The next one over here, though, that's where we can consult with other agents. So you can bring in Scott or Marcus. I could bring you in, and we could actually talk about this and communicate and collaborate before giving a full response to be more informed. We can transfer, we can throw in additional notes into it, and then we've got our ellipses here for knowledge base or our KB stuff, or link to a specific convo. So I'll flip this back to public, and this is where you can see, hey, Adam Hallbeck has joined the conversation. So now I know exactly who I'm talking with. Hello, happy to help you out. I know how to spell, I promise.
And it will show up over there. Look at that. And Adam Hallbeck, it actually says now it's not the bot. It's actually a user that's interacting with
like
it.
a named agent.
Named user.
You don't have to do that. That is, we have a lot of configuration options in the chat widget. I themed this bot purple to kind of go with like a Power Apps vibe. You can position it kind of left, right, middle, and you can decide whether you have your agent named or not. So I think,
right.
But a lot of configuration options.
Yeah, Adam could be a bot, so you could name the bots, right? And I've seen that because Microsoft does that now. When we spin up environments, I'll get an email from a bot.
You're now speaking with Ashley.
Ashley, and then in the bottom it says this is sent by an automated bot system or something like that, and I'm like,
don't reply to Ashley.
I was gonna say, that could be misleading for a customer if you don't say it's some type of a bot of some sorts, I guess. I just would always worry about it. So cool. Wow. So this is pretty slick. Like, you could expose this pretty much anywhere. This could be, we're looking at it customer facing, right? But this could be employee. Like, what's stopping you from actually having a bot, the same technology, to address manufacturing questions on the shop floor? Like, building up a hierarchy of where do I go to find this information, and having a bot direct you where to go.
Well, even better, we can use the new, Project Oakdale, formerly known as DataFlex, using Teams as a platform, using Teams as a framework for new solutions. Right now, I just taught, same environment, same tenant that I was in for the PVA and the portal we just took a look at. But now we have Project Oakdale. Like, now we have Power Apps in Teams that we can use, and we now have Power Virtual Agents included with Teams licensing. So, if this is an internal only type of ordeal, if this is like human resources support or IT resources, something that's an internal work stream, we can actually use that. We can use PVA within Teams, that Project Oakdale virtual agents capability to get what we need. And that's what I demoed in our Connect session this week, was using PVA in an internal, you can go to the chat here and you can see some of the back and forth that we had in that session. We have our Connect HR bot. So there's a bunch of back and forth here. If I asked about, annual salaries, it'll spit back. That wasn't commentary to any Stoneridge people watching. This was just like, salary, annual reviews, documentation, anything that we need from like a people team. It's really easy to get off the ground and start deploying this for your own internal teams, not for your customers, but actually adding value for some of the operational pieces too.
Yeah, I personally would look. Go ahead,
I like
Marty,
the IT side of this, right? You switch offices and you need the Wi-Fi password, or you need support doing something,
or you need to find something like, so we have a channel that has our benefits, right, and our information regarding those benefits. But really, what I want to do is I want to go to one area and type something that may be benefit related, it may be sales related, it may be all these different directions, and then it just brings me there, right? Because I think that's the biggest problem that we've personally had with SharePoint, for example, back in the day, of trying to structure it where we could actually interact with it. And then Teams has kind of gone down that path too a little bit, where you don't have a real good structure or core around it, whereas these bots can help really manage that structure, because you have one person that designs it and does it, and then everyone can really use that capability, which I think is pretty slick.
And the one thing that Sabrina called it out in the chat here, the Confab chat, I just searched, for the sake of the demonstration, I just searched like standard human resources frequently asked questions. The really cool thing is, if you're an organization and you already have a frequent you already have a frequently asked question like page or some sort of something living on a website, something that we can actually point to that has a URL, I can take this URL here and in PVA. Now this is applicable to both Project Oakdale within Teams as well as the full robust Power Platform, Power Virtual Agents. But what we can do is, I actually didn't build that bot from scratch, each of those topics. I went to this really nifty tool called Suggested
Cool.
Topics, and I just plunked in that URL, and I clicked start, and this will take maybe a minute and a half, but it actually scans through. If it's in this format, if it's input and response, if your page is laid out that
Key
way, if
pair
your
value.
URL has that, it's going to, basically, it's a big old JSON payload. It takes that and it builds your topics for you. So this becomes a single response topic. Like this is my input, and then this is my response from the bot. So if we go back to those suggested topics, you can see that it's still thinking. But if I go to this, existing topics, and then we have suggested, hey, it pulled all of that in for me, which is so cool. And this sort of stages it. If you don't want to include everything under the sun in your bot, you don't have to. You can go through and you can piecemeal these things and include them in your bot. But I did the whole gamut. I scraped everything in and did it that way. So just a lot of easy wins, a lot of straightforward wins. Microsoft is making it easier than ever to start adopting this technology and start using it in practical ways for your organization versus, just kind of getting lost in a deep but meaningless toolbox. This stuff all carries value.
And the cool thing about it is that it's all being connected, right? I mean, it's all about exposing this technology now that is a general tool that can be used with employees. It can be used with customers. And I want to steal something really quickly here, Adam. I don't know if you're going to flip to anything else, but
Nope.
one of the things that we're going to be doing in one of our sessions coming up here, thank you for the follow. This streamer is yes. That's awesome, Nick. I like it. All right. So one of the things that we're going to be doing here, I'm actually going to see if I can pull this up and block them out. Block guys out so you don't have to see them twice. And we will go up to here, and there we've got our wonderful web page. So I'm going to go to Power BI just really quickly here, because this is something that I've got to leave a couple minutes early today to be able to go into a session with our team. And really, one of the content pieces that we're going to be going through is a Power BI report, right? And so everyone's like, whatever, it's Power BI, right, type of a thing. And it was interesting to work with Greg. He's our Power BI lead at Stoneridge Software, and to go through some of the concepts, because he's so focused on BI, right? Because that's his role, and we're in pre-sales much more general in terms of being able to use all these different technologies to really address a business solution. We're not, we could classify ourselves sometimes as solution architects because we have deeper knowledge sets in some areas, but we're trying to be very broad and expansive to take different technologies and understand very quickly how those integration strategies work. And it was really interesting when I was working with him on the fact that he's like, well, he's focused on Power BI, on the design of Power BI and how all that works together. But really, one of the concepts that he was just blown away by was the fact that we can take other technologies and embed them inside of Power BI, very similar to Power Virtual Agents. And I wouldn't be surprised, Adam, if we could do an iframe and put a bot in a report as well. I haven't gone that far yet, but that is going to be something I want to do now that I've seen that you could ask questions beyond the Cortana intelligence that's in Power BI that links to your data. But really what I wanted to show here was that case, and we're going to do more on this for our next session here, but review operation cycle time. So here, for example, is a Power BI report. And the mentality shift that we're having with Power BI as a consumption apparatus, meaning that you create the old classical dashboards and you can click on them and it updates some of the charts and graphs. We can go further than that now. So on our far right here, this is an actual app that was embedded then inside of this Power BI report. And what I can do is I can, just like an application, interact with it to make changes, delete records, do updates to the information, add a picture, whatever it is inside of this app. And the cool thing about the Power App is that you can have this independently as well, right? So if I go to powerapps.com and if I wanted to open up that app separately, I could actually just hop into here, go to that particular app if I focus on the correct environment inside of here, and then interact with that specific app. So if I go into my demo environment inside of here, I can go to my apps then that are inside of here, and then I've got my operations app, right? And that's that same app that we're looking at inside of the Power BI report. Now, the cool thing about this, though, is that you can actually make it so that the app can have an action based upon what you're interacting with inside of your reports. I did this at a very base level on one of the confabs where we turned on a light bulb externally. I'm like, well, let's go, use an app this time. So I can, for example, click on press, and then from here you can see it's populating and filtering down based upon what I'm interacting with here as I click through this. So this is an app then, for example, where maybe I'm noticing that the cut times, the actual median expected time or the average cycle time is 8.1. My cut time is at 4 right now for my setup and my routing. I could theoretically come into here and then change, for example, my runtime to 8.1. So that way I'm affecting MRP processing inside of the system. So that way the cycle times become more accurate as I go through my manufacturing process and the
That's so
planning engine.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like these small little things. This took us probably about an hour to put together, but you have a pointed scenario where you can actually interact with the data and then have an action or outcome that you can react to it immediately instead of having to open up Dynamics 365 and then go through all of that. But at the same point too, if you want to, so let's just bring it full circle, you can still take that same report here and I can drill down to the bottom. You guys can't see, well, you can kind of see it on the screen. Look at that. This is Dynamics 365. This is finance and operations. So that same report now is embedded with that Power App embedded inside of it, and I can then do exactly the same thing then from a dashboard inside of Dynamics 365.
I got a comment here, and I know how it's supposed to be said, but considering this is our kind of work stream, I'm going to say yabish.
Yeah. It's Christine.
Yabish. Christine.
Yeah.
The comment there, heavy lifting, take that out. Put the data in the app. Actually
focus.
Have the. And I was gonna say something along the lines. I mean, this is super cheese moment, but we're getting to the point where we understand data models and tools in the Power Platform, D365, line of business apps and Dynamics Suite and whatnot. But more and more, we're talking about the platform, and more we're talking about experiences. So, it's experience, UX design to a degree with all of the tools that we have in the toolbox to be able to do this quickly with agility appropriately, but also adding, like boosting performance, increasing efficiencies, and adding the value to the teams.
Exactly.
So it's super exciting to see. And it's like, how easy is it to go grab an app ID and put that in a report, and the automagic stuff happens because Microsoft is paying attention to they're keeping the eyes on the prize. They're making it easy. It's one thing to profess low code, no code. It's another thing to wholly follow through on it, and it's that much easier to start bringing these tools together to build solutions. It's really exciting to see the Power BI stuff here.
It is cool, and I wanted to bring that up because Christine was mentioning earlier.
Yabish.
Yeah, well, Yabish Christine. Yeah, Yabish Christine. Right? Yeah, she even she put her name at the end of one of the comments as well. So, but anyway, she was saying about some of the new features that came out with the cash flow Power BI session. It sounds like she's getting ready to present that as well. And I was asking in the chat, what are some of the better features that are there? For example, she mentioned when you hover over the filter icon on visuals, the applied filter context is displayed. So that way because what we take for granted sometimes is that we click on a filter, and in Power BI visuals, it'll sometimes morph and adapt depending upon the visual.
Yeah.
But when you hover over it, that information classically wasn't shown or displayed. So it just brings more information from an end user perspective on what we're looking at with it. It looks like there's a new visual, a decomposition tree that was added as well to it. But just showing then that those capabilities, when they design them now, they get added then into really that base capability as well. Christine, I know we're having too much fun. Sorry.
It's because this is our outlet. Like this is for this week anyway. We're sassy. We're punchy. I mentioned earlier.
Well, and then the other one too, though. So kind of to button this up, we've got to leave a couple minutes early today. I've got a session right at noon, of course, that I got to jump onto. One thing that Rob brought up was field service too, right? And we've kind of talked about this a little bit. Like, there's many different field service options that are out there, right? And I think I don't know. Did we have any content on field service by chance? Anyone in the chat, if you were on it, did we do a Connect event on field service?
I want to say we did. We're underplaying this hard, by the way, chat, because we leaned hard into field service. It was a heck of a lot of fun.
Could we bring sim all three options? One in CE. Yeah, so there's really 3 different options typically that we tackle with field service. Maybe 4, I guess is what you can say. BC, CE, like Rad, like you're saying as well, and then F&O, right? So each of those have different capabilities and options that we really tackle. I will say probably the Cadillac, the best field service solution that is out there, really is the CE, or the Dynamics 365 field service. I mean,
is that still an appropriate analogy? Do we want to start saying like the Tesla or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Tangent.
I don't know about that too. We'll see. But point is that has like the advanced IoT capabilities, a great work order structure, a phenomenal business process plan with it, good integration with finance and operations, really
dispatch,
inspections now.
Yeah, phenomenal dispatch. Like,
so much easy. Like it's so easy to take field service as a core, but then your upstream, sales processes, having those handoffs be seamless, all in one place. Microsoft strategy. Yes, there are different solutions. There are right solutions for the right people that are not Dynamics 365 field service, and we understand that. Our job is to put forward the best solution given the requirements and given the needs and circumstances. However, from a Microsoft product strategy perspective, everything is flowing through D365 field service.
Yep.
So
and I would just second that, just saying that field service is what we would typically recommend if you are a true field service organization. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't use BC service management, for example. I mean, it'll work, and if you don't want to pay for an integration or enable an integration, or if you want something that is just integrated in BC and you don't want to have another product cost that you're spending with it, you could use BC service management. But you're not going to be on a platform really then that's being added to. It is in what I would classify as maintenance mode. And the same with F&O. I mean, for external service, the service objects and what we've used in the past in there, it's not really getting much traction or feature additions to. Now, the asset management, which is different than field service, that's internal field service is the way I look at it, that is a new feature, right? That's work orders for punches, presses, existing manufacturing equipment that you have. That's going to continue to evolve. But beyond that, like Rob said, set up field service, get dual right, or use the CDS integration that we have within BC to configure that, or even use flows to send the information between the systems, and you've got a solid framework in place that will support the business fairly well.
Well, the day will come much sooner than people realize, where it will be what we know now today as D365 field service. That will be the field service offering. There won't be, we might have scalability options, but like that will be the product that we run with. As we see CDS more and more break down barriers between business applications and data integration and the tools that we have on those levels, field service will be it will just be the end of the line field service solution, with scalability, obviously making sure that it can scale to SMB, enterprise, etc.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys, I think that is about it at this point. I think we're at a time to wrap. I wanted to thank everyone for joining. If you have not signed up, don't forget your geeky deliciousness too, Adam. But I do have to make one statement.
Yeah, I was gonna do because of the Mighty Nine. I know it's a work stream, but I promise this is empty. It's a little flask from one of the characters on Critical Role, and in their story, it's always kind of like half full with something. So it's an endless little flask, but it's got a cute little button. It's Knott's endless flask. So that's our geeky deliciousness for today, in theme with the Mighty Nine in the background here. But that's my big call out. I was just laughing because I was going to say thank you all for coming to the Adam Hallbeck makeup session for Bots Hour. It was a pleasure.
It was a lot of fun too. We got some other content that we went through too. If you haven't yet registered for our 3:30 session, I think that there's a prize that's going to be given out. Leah was indicating to me, and there's a trivia question, and it involves CEOs, and so I figured I'll put that out there. It's who said it. I think is what I'm hearing here. So if you have time, join. Just so you guys know as well, 2 weeks from now, we have our next event for Confab, and Sabrina sent me some info on it. It looks like November 5th, we've got Project Oakdale, the new integration of the Power Platform into Teams. So we're going to have some fun with that. And then 2 weeks from that point, so after that, on November 19th, we go into Project Oak Tree. There's a lot of oaks going on right now, as you can see. So we will be talking about the new functionality for the engineering change management capabilities that have been added into finance and supply chain management. So looking forward to talking to you guys, and then we're going to do a deeper dive, I guess, on live agents, Power Virtual Agents, and Omnichannel on December 3rd, right, Adam? So you got a little bit of practice.
We just previewed like the next month and a half of confabs.
Exactly. So we'll see you guys